This variant of Wolverine that you see in the Deadpool 3 trailer is not who you think he is. So I want to break down what's going on with this variant. Who is this guy? And also I want to explain why this is perfect, dude. It's a perfect usage of the variant concept, of the variant idea. And so I want to get into that. It's actually like, it's blowing my mind how well thought out this is. Or maybe they just got lucky and they figured out a really brilliant way to do this because it's good for the fans. It's good for the legacy of Logan, other properties. And I think it's really exciting for an actor like Hugh Jackman as well, okay? So, variant of Wolverine that we see in the Deadpool trailer is hilariously the worst variant of Logan in the multiverse. So imagine all of the Fox X-Men movies that you remember with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Loosely speaking, that's all the same character. And there were a lot of questions. If you're gonna bring Hugh Jackman back, well, how do you do that without crushing the legacy of, you know, Logan and the Fox X-Men films and stuff like that? So what this variant is he's in the entirety of the multiverse. He is like the legit worst version. He is the worst alcoholic. He is the least heroic. He is the least efficient in combat. He is the worst. Okay? And I think that's kind of interesting because it's kind of fun because it sets up a redemption arc for this character. It also means it's very clearly a different character. And there's some lines in the trailer that are interesting. So like Deadpool is saying, "You were the X-Man." Deadpool is in the trailer talking about saving worlds, right? So he's referencing these things and he's like, "That's who you are. I need you because you are that guy." And when he says you are that guy, he's referring to the Wolverine we know from the Fox X-Men movies all the way up to Logan. That Wolverine has saved the world many times. That Wolverine was a big hero. That Wolverine was pretty good. So the one he gets sort of saddled with here, and the one that's in the movie, is the worst version. He was not able to protect his friends. He was not able to protect mutant kind. And therefore, his world goes to shit because he is the worst version of Wolverine. And I find that to be fascinating. And it's going to lead to this version being redeemed, becoming a hero, doing some dope shit. And then that will be his sort of arc. What did he do exactly? How does it like manifest out that he is the worst version? There's like several rumors on this and nobody's like explicitly talking about what it is. I do think the scene in the trailer where there's all those, you know, maybe those are graves of the old X-Men. I do think that is him reliving horrible memories of either something he did or something he didn't do or wasn't able to overcome. And a lot of people have been talking about how that's probably Cassandra Nova, and she's making him mentally relive a very horrible, kind of experience. So what did this Wolverine do? Well, there's a couple of different possible explanations here, right? Number one, he could have killed the X-Men. We saw in a video that Paul did yesterday that there is in comics an event where Mysterio makes Logan hallucinate that the X-Men are bad, and then he like cuts them up, kills up a bunch of X-Men. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe it has to do with him not defeating some big multiversal threat or villain like a Kang or a Thanos or something like that. We've already seen in like 838 that you had the X-Men and the Illuminati fighting against Thanos. They prevailed, but perhaps this is a situation where they did not prevail in this guy's universe. I was also told that he just can't save his kind or his friends. And it was interesting. Somebody else brought up earlier that the ships of Sentinels, that's what it looks like. The graves, it's possible that it was just the Sentinels and Trask and sort of Days of Future Past-esque type stuff, but this Wolverine sucks, so he fucked it all up and they couldn't save them, and so all of the mutants are now gone. Not 100% sure what exact baggage he is carrying. They're basically just saying he is the worst version of Wolverine possible. And again, the reason that is so fucking cool is because it's clearly not the Wolverine we know. It is so clearly not the one from the Fox universes, even the one from Logan. Okay? Now, there's another aspect to this that's kind of interesting. You guys know in the trailer where Logan is saying, listen, kid, I'm no hero. Well, a lot of the leakers and scoopers are talking about how that scene is going to have, let's just call him down bad Logan, the one from Deadpool and Wolverine. He's going to be saying that to X-23. So he's going to be in the universe, maybe, where Logan happened. That Logan, not only was he super heroic and did a bunch of heroic shit, but later in his life makes the ultimate sacrifice to keep the kids safe and to help X-23. He was a hero. That Logan, the one we're going to, down bad Logan, the one we're going to meet in the movie, he is not a hero. He is like the exact opposite of that. So I think that's so interesting that they're going to do that. Like, imagine writing this movie and you've got a couple of problems, right? Number one, there's the Logan thing. You don't want to necessarily touch that. You have to establish a variant that feels familiar but is very different than the ones before. There's just like a lot of stuff that you want to operate with. And from the perspective of Jackman, right? From the perspective of Hugh, he's basically played one version of the character for like 17 plus years. So for him, it's probably not interesting to just play that version again. How much more can you do with that version? Well, that's where the genius idea comes in. Yo, let's get a variant that is the worst deadbeat, alcoholic, bum-ass Wolverine, a total fuck-up, and let's get him saddled with Deadpool, and then that will be the variant that we're going to be sticking with for a while, which again allows for development. It allows for a progression, redemption, all of these different and interesting things. So to me, I find that to be fascinating. I was like, whoa, that's really freaking cool because it solves a bunch of the problems. It gives us something interesting to sort of sink our teeth into as the audience. And I think it's really funny. So in the context of the trailer, let's talk about it in the context of the trailer, right? Obviously, they're playing around with this idea that this Wolverine is the worst. They're playing around with the idea that something's haunting him. They're playing around with the idea that he let his whole universe down, okay? And so within the context of the movie, if we think about this, maybe the bar scene is Logan recruiting him, taking him back to the TVA. They get him in the yellow. Maybe that is when something happens with Paradox and there's a smashy thing. But I think him being on the Void would have to happen after that scene. Because I think you'll get it explained via Paradox of maybe what Logan did. At the very least, you'll get it explained that he let his whole world down. Because later on in the trailer, when they're on the Void and Deadpool says to him something, you know, is that what happened when your whole world went to shit? Deadpool must have some understanding that that has happened. And yet, I don't think he has the full context for it. That's going to come later, right? So they're going to play around with this idea that essentially this is the worst Wolverine. He totally screwed up. He did some horrible shit and it's haunting him. We don't know exactly what that is, but we know he's horrible. And I think the Cassandra Nova thing's really interesting because she's going to know that. She's going to be able to get inside his mind like instantly. And she's going to know that he sucks. She's also going to know that he's maybe responsible for a bunch of death, maybe just the worst, like whatever he did, she's going to know about it. She's going to make him relive it. And so that's the scene we see in the green. And again, it could just be that he fails to protect them. They do a Days of Future Past, it doesn't work, and the Sentinels take over everything. Who knows for sure? But that is the concept. That is who that Wolverine is. And I think that is a brilliant choice. And I think it's just going to be super fun. So that's the first thing I want to talk about. I'd love to know what you guys think about that. What do you think of that?